So a slightly controversial topic today then, the new Ford Capri. And as you will have seen from the title of the video, I want to discuss exactly what Ford have done to it. Now, have they ruined the Capri? Have they ruined the iconic looks, the iconic styling? For me, in a word, yes, that's exactly what they've done. Now, I understand the need to appeal to a market that is into EVs and is into the new age technology you get in cars. However, for me, like the Capri is one of my earliest automotive memories. So I remember as a 4-year-old, that was the car my dad had at the time. He had a 2-litre Capri Laser and it was just epic. And it's the first car that I got to steer as a young boy on his lap in a car park, having fun. And so I've got real fond memories of that car. And I don't feel like Ford have done it justice. They've taken an icon, an iconic name, and just slapped another EV blueprint over the top of it. It could just as easily have been the Ford Puma or the Ford Edge or whatever it might be. I just feel like if you're going to use something like that, after doing such a good and a great job on Mustang, that, the UK version of the Mustang was absolutely phenomenal until, again, they brought that new style Mustang out that is just horrid and isn't a Mustang. I don't know why we're trying to mess with classics like this. Why can't we just, for instance, Ford, and apologies for this, why can't you come up with new names and new ideas for these cars? Because using, say, the Mustang and the Capri to gloss over the fact that what you've done is take a name and plaster it on something that doesn't represent either of those vehicles, in my opinion, is just wrong. So first of all, the biggest problem is there's too many doors. A Capri was always a 2-door coupe. It was in many ways England's answer to the Mustang that was obviously huge in the American markets. And it was our answer to that. The only bit of the original Capri I can see in it is the rear window line. And it just doesn't make sense on a 5-door car. It doesn't work. The window line works on the styling they've given the new Capri, but the problem is, if that's really the only inspiration you're taking from the original car and then slapping the name on it, it just doesn't work at all. Now, of course, again, the appeal is there to look for new buyers in the electric vehicle market. And that still could have been done. We could have styled it properly. It could have looked fantastic and it still could have been an EV. It could have been a high performance EV to bring it into that new kind of sports car age and sports car era. Granted, I would have preferred it have something like a Mustang engine in, obviously. Something like a 5-litre with the proper styling would have been incredible. But we still could have used the styling and made it appeal to the EV market for sure. Now, for me personally, I always said, and I've always known that at some point the Capri would come back and make an appearance, especially with manufacturers' tendency nowadays to revive old models and try and improve them. And Ford have done this in recent years as well. We've seen it with a lot of older models, especially things like the Mustang. So I knew it was going to come back. What I imagined, though, was totally different to what they've actually brought out. And as I say, I do totally understand the idea and the direction they've gone in with it. However, it just doesn't work. And any of those Capri purists out there, I honestly don't think they're going to like this car. This is just to get numbers on paper, get the sales in, get them friendly for leasing companies and things like that, so that company cars, they can be used as that and bought through those schemes. And so, yeah, I suppose from a sales point of view, it makes sense. But from a historical point of view and keeping the heritage alive and reviving an old model that was insanely popular when it was released back in the day, it just doesn't work. They've not ticked any single box that I can think of relating to that in place of effectively appealing to a company car electric vehicle market. And to me, that's just sad. Now, some of you might not be familiar with the original Capri design. And if you're not, I'm going to put an image on screen of it now. And as you can see from that design, it's every bit, that sports / muscle car look. Granted, apart from the 2.8 injection that they put in it, it never really received, in my opinion, the engine that it deserved in this country anyway. As far as different markets go, I don't even know if it was ever released in the American market. I doubt very much it was because they couldn't compete with their own Mustang at the time. I think that was doing far too well. But as you'll see from the original styling, it's got that sort of fastback look. It's got that low slung, long bonnet. It just works. The whole shape of the car works. The round headlights at the front, the sort of tiger nose looking grille with the drop down bonnet there in the centre. And that's just the Mark III that I'm talking about. The Mark I was just something else. Like, that was phenomenal. The original Mark I was a beautiful car. And obviously they are a lot rarer and a lot harder to get hold of now. I'll just flash an image of the Mark I on screen now for anyone who doesn't know what it looks like. Now, the Mark II was very much a mixture of the Mark I and the Mark III, and kind of the go-between between those. You had more Mark III styling, but there was still some Mark I elements there as well. And I do believe the Mark I, actually, you could get a 3-litre in it as well. So that was quite good. Obviously, the Mark III was the one that came with the 2.8 injection. A great engine by all accounts for its time, and obviously, you know, somewhat ahead of its time with the injection for a regular kind of road-going car. But yeah, honestly, in my opinion, I really don't think they've done it justice. Now, somebody has reimagined what it should look like, and here's an image of that. I think you'll agree, this is way more in keeping with the original styling. And actually, if they'd have bought this out, I would have already put a deposit on one. I can promise you now, if this is the car they would have released, I would have bought this immediately. So that image you see there is a reimagination of the 1972 RS. And for me, that is where it needs to be. That is exactly what needs to happen. If Ford would have bought this out, I would have been the first one banging down the door trying to get myself one of these models, because it fits. It is in keeping. It has elements from the Mark III, the Mark I, the Mark II. It's all the best bits mixed into one fantastic modern version and modern reimagination of that vehicle. And I believe that, you know, if they bought this out, even if they did put an EV motor in, I'm not a huge EV car fan. Even I would have succumbed to that and wanted one, because I have huge fond memories of the Capri, like I mentioned earlier. It was a big part of our early family life. And especially for me, you know, that was big memories with my dad, and he died quite young. So that was huge for us, really. And then it just feels like they've completely run out of imagination and any kind of desire to please their target audience, or what should have been their target audience, with the design of this car. So, yeah, you know, to summarise for me, what an absolute shame. It could have been so much more. And Ford, by all means, you know, if you want to send me one to try out for the day, I'll give it a go. But I can't imagine it's going to change my opinion. Naturally, they're not going to send us one. We're nowhere near popular enough for that. However, I just don't feel like I could get in that car and ever feel like it was a Capri or deserve the name. You know, like I say, they should have come up with a new name for it, or a new model or something like that, and save that iconic Capri name to be actually reimagined with a model that suits it and that works for it and gives it everything it deserves. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, this is just a different style of video for us. It's just something that I wanted to get off my chest with you guys who are all car fans, and it's a mildly controversial topic at the moment. You know, hopefully they do bring out another model and they reimagine it in the way that it deserves to be reimagined. But, you know, that remains to be seen, and time will tell. Somehow I doubt it, but fingers crossed. Now, if you like what you see here today, and you check out our other videos, and you like the kind of stuff we put out, please consider just whacking that subscribe button for me, because we're going to be bringing some incredible content to you over the course of the next year. We have some fantastic restoration projects in, and we have lots and lots of cool jobs going on, and different how-to videos teaching you different skills on vehicles, from bodywork to mechanics to all manner of different things, and especially customization. So drop a like on the video. Let me know your thoughts on the new Capri in the comments, because I'm dying to find out what other people think, and whether people think Ford have hit the nail on the head, or whether they are so far off the mark it's ridiculous. So hit the subscribe button, let me know in the comments, and we will see you in the next one.